Good morning. Welcome back to Curiosity Forge. I am the Curiosity in the Forge. I thought I would just drop a quick video with some words about safety. I was planning optimistically to go into the shop today and start working on the hammer. And I noticed this morning that the combination of meds I have following that procedure that I had yesterday and everything else, and the lack of sleep, has me at a point where I feel like I could competently go in there and do some work, but I'm also having a hard enough time remaining attentive to make things like driving to the store took way more effort than it should have this morning, just keeping myself attentive on the road and not just kind of drifting off. And that kind of behavior does not sit well with the thought of going in there trying to handle 2.5, 3 pounds of yellow hot steel with tongs that I haven't tested under those circumstances yet. I'm pretty sure what I have now will let me get that billet in and out of the forge. I know it'll let me handle it while it's on top of the anvil. I have tested that extensively, setting it down and, spinning the billet around so that, I can swap sides of I can change the direction that I'm going in with the punch so that I get a straight hole punch through. But the back of my head says, yeah, there's some pretty good odds that I could reasonably end up dropping that billet. And being in a rather inattentive state right now increases the odds that I drop that billet. And knowing my luck, it's going to land directly on top of my foot. Or it's going to do something like hit me right on the top of the thigh and take a second to roll off. Or something like that. And yeah, I don't want that. So I thought I would take some time to point that out and use this as a reminder to really, really be thinking about your safety when you're in your shop. There's a lot of things that people do without even thinking about that are really unsafe. And, it's one of those things where you really, really have to treat everything in your shop like it wants to hurt you and is trying to hurt you, and it is your job to make sure that doesn't happen. That is how you approach safety. And that goes for every piece of equipment in your shop, bar none. One of the ones, like when I'm watching videos and I see guys run their angle grinders with no guard, I cringe. I've seen pictures of what happens to guys' hands and exposed parts of their face and stuff when those wheels explode. For me, it's not worth it. It's not worth the little bit of extra disc you can use up and the little bit of extra visibility you get in exchange for, what happens when that disc blows up on you. And of course, you watch guys, and the camera angles always make it look like they're the back of their fingers right here are about this far away from the spinning wheel. I know they're not, but it looks like they are, and that just drives me nuts. So, yeah, I wanted to point that out. Please be thinking about safety when you're doing anything in your shops. Always when you're about to do something, stop, think about your safety. Make sure there's nothing that is inherently unsafe fixing to happen, and then go for it. Every time I have to go use my bandsaw, I walk up to it, I set my piece down on the bandsaw table, and then I do a quick check to make sure all my safety stuff is in order. If it's good, then I fire it up. And there have been times where I stop and do that, and I look and I realize I have something set right there at the base of the bandsaw that makes it harder for me to stand comfortably, which makes it harder for me to hold my work safely. And I had to stop, pull that out of the way, and clear the area that I want to stand so that I can work comfortably and I know where my hands are going to be at all times. Little things like that, turning those into your default behavior is one of the best things you can do for yourself in your shop. Like I said, this just runs the gambit. If I'm going to start working on the anvil and I've got a forge going, before I start the forge, I check the floor to make sure nothing is in the way between me and between the forge and the anvil. I've got room to move around comfortably. The rest of the shop can be a disaster, but I make sure the area I'm going to be in is cleaned up before I fire the forge. Little things like that. So with that, I'm going to let y'all go anymore, and I will be talking just to hear myself talk. So praise the forge and pass the borax. Y'all please keep safety your first stop before you do anything in your shops. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a safe and happy holidays, safe travels. And as soon as I get to the point where I'm thinking right and my attention to details is where it needs to be, it's going to be hammer time. Not you, Mark, but regular hammer time. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.